Hi, my name's Tim and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at Of the Girl by Pearl Jam, which was taken from the BINAURAL album, which is 20 years old today. 20 years. This song's kind of special because it's the first song I ever saw them play. So the first thing is this song is down tuned a half step. I'm not going to do any down tuning, so I'm just going to leave it in regular standard tuning. If you want to play along to the record, you can down tune it. And when they play it live these days, they play it in standard tuning anyway. So I'm going to show you Stone's parts, and then we're going to look at some of Mike's parts towards the end. I'm not going to show you every little detail that Mike does, but I'm just going to give you a few ideas that will get you started. And like most of Mike's stuff, he doesn't play it the same live anyway. There's always loads of variations. But we'll take a look at some of the cool little lines. There's some nice licks in there. So it starts off it's in the key of D, and it's kind of like a D minor, kind of like a D minor 7 chord. You start on the open D, and you've got second fret on the G string and the open B string. So there's a couple of ways that you can play it. If you want to play it with just your pick, you can. If you want to play it with your pick and fingers, you can. I'm kind of an advocate that you should be able to do both, so we'll look at just the pick. So we've got open D string, second fret on the G string, and then the open B string. So you kind of pedal between the D string. So you have open D, second fret, open D, open B, D, first fret on the B, D, second fret on the G string. So what you're basically doing is you're just sort of outlining this that kind of theme, but you're also pedaling this D underneath it. There's a nice little pull off that you can throw in as well. If you wanted to, if you want to play it with your fingers, you can use your middle finger, because your index finger's holding the pick, with your thumb, using the middle finger to play that B string. B and the G string. So that's it. That's what you want to do with your pick and your fingers. You can use your ring finger as well, but it's entirely up to you if you want to use your fingers. You can get away with just using your middle finger. But there's a theme in this that you play this riff kind of 3 times. And you've got this nice little pull-off thing. I call it the pull-off riff. And what that is second fret on the G string, pulling off to open. Third fret on the D string, pulling off to open. And then going back to the second fret on the G. We can kind of play a D chord. So he plays that little riff when the vocals come in. And you have this other little riff which kind of bridges the verse and the chorus, and it goes. Kind of based again around a D, and you're kind of following this motif of pedaling this D bass note. The important thing with this song is that groove. It's that bass line and those thumping drums. You really want to try and match that open D string to Jeff's bass and Matt Cameron's drumming. I find that easier with my pick and fingers. So when you're doing it with your pick, it's quite a lot to be doing, to jumping from that D string up to that top E string. It's quite a wide pick jump to do. Just takes a little bit of practice. You could play it without rolling that bass line. Which he might do, but I think it's nice to try and keep that bass line going, which you might find easy with your pick and your fingers. And then you're into the chorus, which is just an F to an A minor. Now each chorus, like with most Pearl Jam songs, each chorus is slightly different. There's a slight variation. Like I say with all my lessons, I'm not going to spoon feed you every single line and every single note. You're going to have to go take this away and do a little bit of work yourself. Use your ear, because that's what it's there for. So the chorus is just F and A minor. And then you've got this outro riff, or this middle bridge riff again. Into another chorus. And then you're back to the verse riff. That's it. That's kind of it. Oh, there's... Oh, sorry. No, there is. There's an outro riff. It sneaks in right at the very end. And you're just running up a D power chord, open D, 2nd fret on the G, 3rd fret on the B. Down to the 1st fret of the B. Down to the open B. 2nd fret on the G, like a little hammer on, to the open to the 2nd fret on the G string, to the open D. Gets a little bit muddy. Gets a little bit muddy in the mix towards the end of that riff. That bit, I'm not 100%, I'm fairly certain it's, well, it could be, you know, kind of like a, it could be something like that. It could be playing that open G as well. It happens once, maybe twice in the song, right at the very end. It's not, we're very nitpicking there. So for Mike's parts, what we're going to need is a tiny bit of overdrive, a little bit of slapback delay and some reverb. And we are using the front pickup, or the neck pickup, just to give it a bit of a smoother kind of sound. So everything he plays is based around the D minor pentatonic scale. Remember, we're not tuning down a half step, so we're kind of enharmonically, he's playing C sharp minor, but because we're not down tuning, we are in D minor. But when you down tune, if you want to play along to the record, we're still in the same frets, we're still using the same position, it's still 10th position. So, what do we do? So there's a couple of little licks which feature and repeat frequently. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play a little bit. I'll break it down and show you what I was doing. So what we've got, what features really heavily are these little kind of little double stop riffs. You're basically barring your 3rd finger across the 12th fret, and you're kind of hitting the D, G and B strings. And back to the 10th fret, finishing on the D note, 12th fret on the D string. Then you've got this little motif, which is you're just doing a bend from the 12th fret on the G string. You're bending up to a whole tone, releasing it back down to the 12th fret, pulling off to the D, pulling off to the 10th fret on the G string, finishing on the 12th fret on the D. Now, when you bend, bending all comes from the wrist. It doesn't come from the fingers. You're not pushing up like this. Everything comes from the wrist. So what you do is you kind of angle your fingers. So your fingers aren't parallel to the frets. Your fingers are kind of at an angle. You hold this 12th fret on the G string, and when you bend, it's a rotation of the wrist. So if you look at my hand here, there's a nice little pocket. Let's see if you can't really see. There's a nice little pocket just under here. It's not, my wrist isn't up like this. My hand's not up like here. It's nice and dropped, and my thumb is over the top. And the thumb is used as kind of a pivot or an anchor. And then it's your wrist, and I've got all 3 fingers behind my 3rd finger to support it. So I'm not doing it with one finger because you struggle. up, you're pulling back down, then pulling off to the next note. And I'm actually doing a pull off. Picking that last note. Maybe a little double pick. Also, if you can, try and get, I sometimes put a little rake in. It's not a piece of garden furniture. What I'm doing is I'm raking across the strings, so this part of my hand is resting on the back of the strings, and I'm raking into that. Raking into that first note. And then you're putting a bit of vibrato on. Now vibrato is exactly the same as bending, except the movements are a lot quicker. All the movement is coming, it's from my wrist, and it's not coming from my fingers. And one of my pet peeves is hearing people do vibrato from the fingers. It sounds shit. Don't do it. Don't be one of those people. It's not a shaky kind of sound. I hear some people do it, and it's all like this. It's just, it fucking drives me crazy. The movement should be super smooth. And the movement is all coming from your wrist. The movement is all coming from my wrist. Look at my whole hand. See my whole hand? Let's see, just there. Where am I getting it? Can I point it? There. Just in there, underneath the neck. You look at this part of the hand here. If I'm bending and vibratoing up, see how the whole hand is locked into position. Or if I'm doing it downwards. There's nothing about the fingers doing this. It's not this, and it's not that either. So practicing vibrato is really kind of key. Let me give you a little example. I didn't expect this to go into a vibrato lesson, but sometimes they just do. What I'll do is I'll play a really simple lick, and I'll do it with bad vibrato, then I'll do it with what I think is quite nice vibrato. So we'll do a lick like this. Now here it is, hopefully with some nice vibrato. Hear the difference? This sounds so much smoother. So, practice your vibrato. B.B. King's got killer vibrato. Yngwie Malmsteen, you may not be a fan of his music, but his vibrato is absolutely fucking killer. Zakk Wylde, amazing vibrato, but it's so fucking aggressive. He's one of the few people that when you hear his vibrato, you know it's him. Wide kind of vibrato. It's mega. David Gilmour, Pink Floyd. He's one of those players that's just got a really lovely touch. Steve Vai, amazing vibrato. He does this thing sometimes. He'll circle the note. He'll kind of draw like a little circle with a finger. Amazing. So many good people. Back to Of a Girl. What I'm going to do is there'll be a tab for the stone parts and the mic parts, as much as I can kind of get in, but I'd really encourage you to kind of come up with your own ideas, especially for those little mic parts, because there's some, it's like a nice little, like a jumping off point. So if I give you sort of 3 or 4 licks, use those as kind of a little springboard. What I'm also going to do is show you a couple of little things that I would do as and when I get to play this song live. So something that I might do is a bend from the 12th fret, which is not in the pentatonic scale, bending to the 13th fret, which is in the pentatonic scale. So what that is, just a bend from the 12th fret up to the 13th, over a D. What we're doing is we're bending from the major second up to the minor third, which is always a sweet little bend. What I did there is I did a pre-bend, so you pre-bend up to the 15th fret on the B string, and bring it back to the 13th. I like doing these little quick sort of slides in and out of notes. So what that is just a slide from the 12th fret up to the 13th, kind of a bluesy thing. So there you go, there are a few ideas for you to take away and kind of do your own thing with. And I realise I've done this without this freaking light on. It's like I'm having a mare today. I forgot to turn that light on, so everything looks a bit dark and crap now. Oh, and someone's upstairs taking a shower, so everything's loud and noisy. So anyway, there's a few things that you can take away, twist them to your own wicked ends, and come up with something really cool. I've had it's been a bit of a patchwork Frankenstein's video today. I've had things go wrong, I've had lights turn off, I've had batteries go, I've had people upstairs taking a shower. It's like day 85 or whatever it is in quarantine, and everyone's starting to go a bit crazy. So hopefully I've got all the stuff that I need to. Anything that I've missed, if I've gone back through post-production, I'm editing and there's stuff that I've missed, everything that is in the lesson that you're going to need is going to be outlined in a tab, which will be on my Patreon page, which will be down here. What I'm going to say is, if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. There's a little button down there. And if you like the video, if you made it all the way to the end, and I've edited this crazy thing enough, and you haven't noticed the thing that the light wasn't working, but I think you probably will. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Cool, thank you, goodbye.